Welcome to the Growth Guys Podcast, presented by KinderReeseCoaching.com. This is the #1 podcast for real estate agents who are serious about growing their business. Get the strategies and tactics to grow your business fast while building the lifestyle you dream of. Now, sit back, buckle up, and get ready, because we're about to get real. The Growth Guys Podcast starts right now.
What's up, John Kitchens? How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, man. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing awesome. I'm ready for episode 2 of the Growth Guys podcast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'm super excited to talk about a subject today that is kind of an underlying theme in our organization with everything that we do, and that is clarity in mindset. So that's going to be the topic today, getting clear and operating with the right mindset. I know that's one of the first things that you talk about with any of our exponential growth coaching clients. Kitchens, why don't you elaborate a little bit on clarity and mindset today?
You got it, man. It's definitely one of our favorite topics to dive into, and it's absolutely critical in the beginning stages. Kind of, when we start working together in any type of capacity. When you look back, there's really it's two things, right? Clarity and a plan. And as our man, from the east side of the 216, Mr. Machine Gun Kelly himself, it's hard to know where you're going when there is no destination. So, really coming out of the gates with us from a coaching capacity, that's really what we want to focus on. We want to focus on, really helping you get clear on where it is that you want to go. What is that long-term strategy for you? And one of the best definitions of clarity that we really found was all clarity is our capacity minus our contamination. Meaning, if we can expand our capacity, if we can expand our thinking, then and remove the contamination, the limiting beliefs, the stories that we tell ourselves, then we're going to have a greater amount of clarity. And once we have that, then we're able to put in an amazing plan to be able to help anyone accomplish what it is that they're wanting to accomplish. And so from a mindset perspective, we really focus in on, the emotional intelligence. It's really one of the most fundamental and main skills that we have to develop. And we say the word skill because anything that is a skill can be learned. Leadership is a skill. Your mindset and developing that emotional intelligence is a skill. And when you unpack emotional intelligence, there's 5 foundational pillars that really represent it, emotional intelligence. One is self-awareness. So really doing we go through, we do it for our business. We do the SWOT analysis for our business, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But we also have to do it for ourselves. We have to just really come to grips of what we're really, really good at and what we're not good at, right? What we're terrible at. And if, the thing is that if you don't know, find somebody close to you that cares enough about you to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and just ask them. Like, man, what am I really good at? And they'll tell you. You're like, man, what do I suck at? What do I need to stop doing? And, they'll tell you. So you just have to ask. That's kind of pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is the check of kind of self-regulation. And what that means is, man, getting your emotions in check. Are you able to control your emotions? And, knowing what those are, being aware of what they are, and how you respond, or do you react? How do you go about everyday life on the emotional roller coaster that you may be on? A good indicator for us, if your emotions are out of whack, is that, you're not getting enough exercise. You're not getting enough cardio. You're not getting out and walking enough, just kind of getting that heart rate up. So just taking a good look at kind of that regulation. How well do you regulate your emotions? That third pillar, man, is motivation. We look for outside sources to motivate us, but nobody can motivate us. People can inspire us, but nobody can motivate us. Motivation is internal, right? And so from a motivational standpoint, usually what we look at in a really good exercise to go through, when we talk about it from a desire standpoint, and what is desire, what is sustained desire, and really two things that matter at this point. And one is, what is that big, hairy, audacious goal? What is that ridiculous dream that you're chasing? What is it that is like driving you to get out of bed every morning? That's one. And that's part of clarity. That's part of the things that we want to uncover, we want to unpack. The other is, uncovering that, I guess, Jeff, really coming to the understanding that we're either trying to make somebody proud or we're trying to prove somebody wrong. And either one is okay, but we are really trying to do that. And once you come to grips and realize who we are, trying to make proud, or who we're trying to prove wrong, and marry that with the big, hairy, audacious goal, the dream, that's where the sustained desire comes in. That's where that internal motivation. 4 is social skills. And, Patrick Lencioni in his book, The Ideal Team Player, hungry, humble, and smart. And he talks about smart, not as in just absolutely the advantage. And, what he talks about is not that, are they intelligent, smart, but he talks about people skills. Like, do you know when to shut up? Do you know when, to really say the things that you need to say in a setting to where, you're not, open mouth, insert foot all the time. And it's really, really your social awareness, social skills. And then
when to speak up too, right? Not just when to shut up, but when to speak up. Sometimes people don't speak up enough.
Right. Absolutely. Great point. And then, the 5th and foundational pillar, when we're talking emotional intelligence and really getting, our mindset right, is, it comes down to empathy. And, the best video that I've ever seen is the video that the Cleveland Clinic put out on empathy. You can just just Google it, jump on YouTube and just type in Cleveland Clinic empathy and watch it. It's 4 minutes and 25 seconds, and it will change your life. It'll change your perspective. And, it's really all about understanding that there's a story going on in everybody's head. And it's not the story that you're playing. It's the problems, it's the challenges, it's the choke points that they're dealing with. And really that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to, because uncover the situation, the constraints, what's going on, and what we reveal, we can heal. And that's why we start with clarity. That's why we focus on mindset. We want to really get, that contamination, the limiting beliefs. We want to get that out in the forefront, because what we reveal, we can heal. And, what we have to bring to the light, we can, really, put a plan of attack to overcome it. Sometimes we just need to let things go. And so, really that's why we start right here. That's why we start with this. We focus on the emotional intelligence. We focus on our mindset. We focus on, the big picture, what it is that we're striving for, getting clear on it, the impact that we're wanting to have. And so we do a lot of time in the beginning going deep and uncovering a lot. And so it's really foundational and extremely important. And I just remember, early on in the coaching days, the thing that we always said was, one of the greatest things that we'll do for the people that come through our program, that work with us, that consume any of our content, is that we'll change the way they think. We'll change the way they think in terms of success. We'll change the way they think in really what is possible. And so that goes back to clarity, right? Well, we're going to expand their capacity, and we're going to help them remove the contamination, and they're going to be they're going to see things at a whole nother level, in a whole different light, in a whole different way. The more and more that they spend time with us, consume our content, and work with us.
Man, that's deep. That's deep. I want to break it down just so everybody, all our listeners, can really let those 5 pillars sink in. So again, one by one, guys, it starts with awareness, and then you have self-regulation, you've got motivation, social skills, and the last is empathy. And so, not a bad idea to maybe write those down on a piece of paper, keep them in front of you. We're going to talk about mindset, being reminded of these things constantly. helps ensure that you stay in the right mindset. And I think if you do any kind of research on clarity, it's the number one thing for any top coaching, whether it's Dan Sullivan, the strategic coach, whether it's Dan Kennedy, whether it's working with us, it all starts with getting clear. And it's something that I always took for granted. I think a lot of us are looking for the action, like I just need to take action, and we're not spending enough time before we make a move to determine whether or not it's the right move. Why am I taking this action? Busy doesn't always equal productivity. And so I think getting clear is where, if you spend 15 minutes doing something, you should spend an hour thinking about why you're doing it maybe, and really make sure you're clear. I think of it like, if I get in my car and I'm going to Fort Worth, but I've got no idea how I'm going to get there, just look at the time that I'll waste driving around, making U-turns, going the wrong way, wasting fuel. I may never even get there, right? Versus spending some time, a few hours beforehand, a few minutes beforehand, maybe thinking about the fact that I have some tools that can help me get clear on what direction I should go in, like navigation or whatever. But make sure that you've got a clear direction before you go heading out the door. And in thinking about this before our recording today, Kitchens, I was thinking, man, what are some life examples that you can really nail? Like what really illustrates getting clear, the advantages of clarity? And I tell you, I came up with a few, and I literally have them written down here. But I tell you one that probably it didn't come to me as the first one for sure. But you eat out a lot, don't you, Kitchens?
Yeah, we a couple times a week for sure.
Well, I know last night you were ordering some Chinese food. So,
yeah. Yep, we did.
And by the way, you mentioned Machine Gun Kelly earlier. That's probably in line because you were just at the concert.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. We sure were, man. He was here in Dallas, and so we definitely went and partaked in that event for sure. It was awesome.
Well, the reason I asked you about eating out is, I do the same thing, or we'll try to cook, but what we've ended up doing these days is they have all these subscription food services, and so we order this stuff from HelloFresh. And so we get it in a nice box with dry ice. We usually get 3 meals for the week. They come in the bag. I get the meats. I get the little packets for the ingredients, these recipe cards. And anybody who's ever come home after a long day of work and you go, honey, what do you want to eat tonight? Well, I don't know. It's daunting, right? I don't know. There's no clear. If I want to make something, I got to get out a cookbook. I got to Google Pinterest. I got to find the pretty photo of the meal that I want to eat. Then I got to check and see if I got the ingredients. There's not a lot of clarity there. Let me tell you what is getting clear. I open up the brown bag. Every single item I need is in it. There's a recipe that clearly outlines what I do when. Anybody can become a 5-star chef with that, brown bag meal. And you talk about getting clear. We don't have any problems about what we're going to eat tonight. The only, sometimes it's like, well, man, let's do something different instead of cooking out of the bag. But that's one example, I think, that's in all that, you can take that same methodology. It's a recipe. Recipes are the ultimate clarity. There's millions of different ingredients that you can put in a meal. There's just as many ingredients, impulses, distractions that come in through your life. And it's really hard to get clear if you don't have the right recipe. As a matter of fact, in doing research for today's episode, I found an interesting quote from the ex-CEO of Google who knows how, but determined that today the reason it's so hard to maintain clarity is that there's more information created on a daily basis than was created from the beginning of humanity till about 2003. So let that sink in. Every day, there's more information created than what was created in the entire existence from humanity to about the year 2003. How am I supposed to get clear and stay on a straight line with all of that coming at you? Right. And that, I think, is where what we do, helping agents and like you said, just changing the way that people think and focusing on getting clear before taking action. It's a reason why it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And, like you said, there's ton of information, ton of content, ton of distractions. And if you're not clear on what it is that you really truly want, right? That's a powerful question. What do I want? And answering that question with your truth, then, if not, then you're going to go down every path. You're going to go every distraction. You're going to be busy, right? It's just like you said, from a productivity standpoint, if you, in the simplest of forms, all productivity is accomplishing the results that you're after. And otherwise, if you're not getting the results for what you truly want, then you're not being productive. And, a lot of people go through life and they're never productive at all. They're living somebody else's life. They're on somebody else's agenda. And the reality is that you either have your agenda and you're building your life, or you're on somebody else's and you're helping build theirs. And so,
yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it, Kitchens. You got to have a 20/20 mindset, right? A 20/20 mindset produces results. It produces peace of mind. And some people think they are productive. They're trying to put, D batteries in a AA battery thing, and they're wondering why, I'm putting power towards this thing, but it ain't going nowhere. Well, you're putting the wrong thing in it. And I think it is important to understand like where you want to go. You've got to first clearly see what you want in your mind before you can do it. And so just remember, spend some time, get really clear on what you want. Why do you want it? Make sure it's the right thing, because you've got to have that clarity before you can ever start to get close to doing it.
I think one of the critical pieces here too is, what are you consuming? And so it's just like you was talking about the recipe and the food, and, really eating healthy by, fueling your body, to how you feel. It's the same thing in your mind. It's being very disciplined to what you're consuming, being very disciplined to what you're listening to, being very disciplined to who you surround yourself with. And because that leads into your beliefs and what you believe. And just because you believe something to be true doesn't mean that it is. We're all wrong. It's just trying to figure out how we can be less wrong. And so, going through, definitely, focused on those 5 pillars that we talked about, always questioning the truth. Is that true? Is that absolutely true? And really just, that's all really thinking really is just asking better questions. And how can we continuously ask ourselves better questions and really improve, our mindset, our thinking, and, increasing that capacity.
And it is a habit, like you mentioned. Clarity, it is a habit. It is a process that you have to repeat. I think human nature is to kind of be attracted to uncertainty. Human nature is to protect yourself from, things that we think might be uncomfortable or might hurt us. And I think we all lean kind of towards that way, in a sales environment, which I interact with salespeople and train from a sales perspective a lot of the time. And that's one of the things that we talk about is, you're trying to avoid the rejection. You're trying to avoid all the negative things that you think might possibly happen when you enter in a sales situation. And that's what your body has been trained to do, right? To protect you from those things. And it requires repetition of doing the opposite to really build that habit. When you think about clarity, what's the opposite of clarity?
Unclear.
Unclear, right?
Yeah.
Unclear, uncertain. And that's definitely not what we want. So you got to invest energy and the time to get clear. We've all had moments of clarity, and I can tell you a few. Maybe you had a girlfriend or a boyfriend in the past, and that time hit where either, it's time to do something. Are we hooking up? Are we getting married or what? Or right. I'm out of here. You get really clear all of a sudden on what you need to do, right?
Right, absolutely.
If you've ever had, the electricity cut off, growing up in Salinas, California, I can tell you that I've had my electricity cut off many, many times. I've had to rent I've had come home to the eviction letter on your apartment. Oh, but, in the month that I knew I wasn't going to be able to pay rent, I'm distracted. All these different, there's no clarity other than I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. But all of a sudden, when that eviction notice is on the door or the power in a hurry, you get real clear really quick, and it's amazing what can happen. I used to, when I was in the financial services industry, we would have sales contests all the time. And I would tell people these are two contests that would always work. Number one, we would say, all right, so let's say the goal today is to raise $200,000. As soon as a group collectively, we get $200,000 raised, everybody can go home. Dude, like a week went by and nobody could pick up any money. All of a sudden by 10:30, we've got $200,000 on a FedEx truck.
We're out of here.
We're out of here. Now the downside of that, guys, is that then who's there building a pipeline for next week?
That's right.
that dries up, and we used to have to stay till 9 o'clock if we didn't hit the goal, or the goal built up. So if it was $200,000 today and we didn't hit it, then tomorrow it's $400,000. Eventually, everybody said, "Nah, we don't want to do this anymore," because you have a good run where everybody gets clear on what they need to do, and clarity equals results. But in the sales world, if you don't have a pipeline, it doesn't last very long. But we've all had those moments of clarity. A job, maybe you're making a change in your career, you decided to get into real estate, whatever it is, you get your resume out there on the street. At some point, stuff hits the fan and you get really clear on what you need to do. We all do that. I think the difference is, don't wait until the eviction notice is on your door to get clear on what you need to do.
That's right. Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, like you said, a lot of folks, they have to be pushed to that breaking point, right? Somebody leaves them, something happens before they take that hard look in the mirror, and really, take the time. And that's the thing, right, Jeff, is it takes work. It takes effort to maintain this. It's, Joe Polish quote that, really, really resonates for us. Joe talks about, life is hard if you live it the easy way, and life is easy if you live it the hard way. And, making those deposits daily in our mindset, it's not easy. It's effort, it's discipline, it's consistency, but yet, man, makes life a whole lot more enjoyable.
One of my favorite quotes, I don't know who said it. I like to say that I made it up because honestly, I don't think before. But it was, it is that if it don't feel like work, it ain't gonna work.
Right.
There is no easy, dude. That's the button on the Office Depot commercial. There is no easy.
Right.
Easy street. I never seen an easy street. I don't know if anybody lives on an easy street. I know there's Elm Street, and that shit's a nightmare. You know what I mean? Easy street, easy. I'm looking for an easy way. Easy way. There is no easy. That's the protector mindset. You're looking for an easy way because you want to avoid hard work because your body says hard work, I don't like it, whatever, for most people. And so whether consciously or unconsciously, they're finding ways to avoid it. So, go to the work, man. Do the work. Do the work. Positive action equals positive consequences. So remember, guys, get really clear. Like today, think about what is it you want to accomplish today? Why do you want to accomplish it? And what are the steps that you need to do in the next 8 hours to make progress towards that big, hairy ass goal? And if you want some help, it's the first thing we do with anybody that we're working on a really tight level with. It's scheduling a clarity call and spending 45 minutes to an hour helping you take off the foggy glasses and really get clear on what you need to do. So if you're interested in getting clear and scheduling one of those clarity calls, be sure and check out kinderreesecoaching.com. And I think we've about covered the subject for today's episode. Kitchens, anything that you want to leave the listeners with today?
No. And, it's just like you said, it's, really putting in the effort. And, if you guys want to, be at the top of whatever the top is for you, in your life, in your business, in your health, you've got to be the most disciplined, you've got to be the most positive, and you've got to be the most consistent. And, that goes with everything. And, taking the time to really know that destination and know where it is that you want to go, where you want to take your life.
Awesome. So be sure and check out kinderreesecoaching.com, guys, and stay tuned for the next episode of the Growth Guys podcast.
To find out how to build a 7-figure real estate business in 3 years or less, go to kinderreesecoaching.com. You've been listening to the Growth Guys podcast. If you want us to help you grow your real estate business, go to kinderreesecoaching.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Growth Guys podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast fix to get new, fresh weekly episodes. Catch you next time on the Growth Guys podcast.